Now, it's hard to believe that it's almost been 5 years already since Dragon Crown hit store shelves. An amazingly just crafted game from start to finish, both aesthetically as well as mechanically. And now, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't seem to get into it just due to the fact that it came out so late within the PlayStation 3's lifespan. And the PlayStation Vita, well, you know, it catered to maybe 3 of the Australia's PlayStation Vita owners. But fast forward a couple more years later, and we finally have access to Dragon's Crown in the form of Dragon's Crown Pro for PlayStation 4. I've brought along our lovely little friend here, Shane, because he is also another resident Dragon's Crown expert, and we're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun analysing the remake as well as how fantastic the game was.
So let's start off with the game itself, because there was, I think a lot of people missed out on playing this. There was a few elements that I think had bad media press, let's just say. Let's just leave it at that. Let's not go any more deeper into that. But the game itself is so much fun to play. Basically a co-op, slightly RPG beat-em-up game. You've got I think 5, 6 different type of characters, all different styles, all fun just to touch up. Well, that's maybe not the right word I should use, but all just fun to just get dirty and play with. Okay, I'm really not going well with this.
Yes, absolutely. So let me take over there for you. So the game is a beat 'em up with very light RPG elements, very similar. It's a nice little throwback to games like Dungeons and Dragons: Shadow of Mysteria, where you have a lot of characters where you get to tool around with them. They have specific abilities and specific roles within combat as well. So you've got yourself your supports, you've got your tanks, you've got your DPS, because as we all know, we have to equate everything to MMO terminology. But it is a game that's well-rounded. It knows exactly what role you want to play as, and all in all, it's such a fantastic game to play with friends or online or even by yourself.
And I know what role I want to play, because I want to play Elf, and I love archers, because, you know, that's my style. I just like going back and shooting arrows and, you know, killing enemies and stuff. The thing that I think that this game did really, really well more than anything was just the co-op, because the one thing that actually surprised me with the remake is that even though it's, I guess, maybe not remake is not the right word, remaster, it's still compatible to actually play with the PS3 version and the Vita version. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing considering a lot of PlayStation 4 remasters that come out, they tend to kind of segregate people to the latest console that's come out, like the PlayStation 4. You know, it's got a bigger install base, it's what's currently hot at this point in time, and you'd think that they would capitalize on that by going, okay, well, why don't we just have everyone on the same platform at once? Absolutely dead wrong. They've got the people on the PlayStation Vita and the PS3 platforms being able to play on the PlayStation 4 people as well. So I think it's amazing because you don't see that nowadays.
No, it's a really, really interesting concept that they really worked well. It's basically almost community-driven more than, I guess, money-driven. And that works really, really well. Maybe actually not well for sales, but in a sense, people are going to feel really, really good about Vanillaware, and I think people should actually support them maybe a little bit more. Maybe play this game if you haven't tried it, because back in its day it was a very good game. Right now, it's still a very good game. And not even talking about its art style. Art style in this game was one of the major draw points, and it's still magnificent.
And it's a lot of parallels drawn with some of Vanillaware's previous games as well, like Odin Sphere and Muramasa, which both got some remakes of their own through the forms of Muramasa Rebirth and Odin Sphere Left Through Seer. So when it all comes down to it, you sit there going they've retouched a couple of things, they've made a couple of amendments. For people who have played the game previously, there's not really much to kind of turn to unless you want to really support the series in general, and trust me, I would do that too. I mean, everyone would do that if they've played Dragon's Crown before. But for people who haven't played it before, I mean, and there's a sizable amount of people, controversies aside, but the fact that, you know, how it came so far into the PlayStation 3's life cycle, everyone was looking towards the latest hotness, the PlayStation 4. They wanted their launch titles. Dragon's Crown in particular seems to cater towards more of a niche crowd, and since it's gained such a massive cult following, I'd say there's no better time to get into it than now.
It's always a good time to get into Dragon Crown, and I think this is probably even the best time, because Dragon Crown Pro, while it's still got all of its core stuff, and maybe that is another weakness of it, it doesn't really add anything to the game except for maybe 4K actual resolution. You maybe wanted a little bit more touch up of the characters, or even a new whole character itself. That said, if they did that, maybe you wouldn't be able to have cross-play with PlayStation 3
Yeah.
and Vita.
If that's one of the kind of the major gripes that I would have with the series, it would have been great to have an extra character to play with, or a couple of amendments, like some of the Dark Souls remasters, where they touch up a couple of things and make things a little bit different for people who've played the previous game. But when it all comes down to it, Dragon's Crown Pro, like if you've played it before, you're most certainly going to be playing again. For people who have yet to experience the wonderful world that is Hydeland, I'd say you're going to have an amazing time. Just dive in and get straight into it. You are certainly not going to be disappointed.